Says, let me go and see what I can do about it. And he goes to his son and says, son, they have run out of wine. And Jesus uses words which appear to be very offensive. Woman, they're not even calling him by his mother with respect. Woman, what do I have with you? And she retreats and goes away silently and says to them, do whatever he tells you. Find out a beer. And he goes slowly and takes a place in the wedding feast. And the son looks at the confusion, looks at all the things that are going on, and people are all worried that the wedding will never take place, will not go on smoothly. And says, look at those stone jars, 6 of them. When you bring them here that I may see them, he gives them blessing, and there is wine. It is only Jesus that can take away the shame in our lives and the challenges that we face. He took away the challenges that are there in that particular wedding in Cana and Galilee. It is the same Jesus who can take away any shame or anything that the evil one has to do today and bring us only joy and happiness. And there when they tasted that wine, that water that had become wine, and said, you, how can you let us be so drunk? Hata tunalewa hivi. Tunakunywa hii barabara tunatuletea divai nzuri, hii tamu zaidi. How can you let us be drunk only to bring the choicest wine? The 1942, where was it? Where was this choicest wine? You are hidden it all along. And there it becomes a moment of happiness. Music again is restored and everything else is calm. That is only something that can happen with Jesus. That is why I pray for you that in your wedding today, whenever you run out of wine, you know who to call. You know how to call Jesus. In the moments of fear, in the moments when you do not know what to do, call on Jesus. In the moments when you think that you can never move forward and hear that voice, say, Jesus, we have run out of wine, and how will you come and bless you and give you the best way forward? That is what Jesus is all about, and that is the Jesus that we raise ourselves to and ask him to bless you in this special day, in this magic day, in this day when you will become one. The book of Colossians, the very beginning of today, talks about love. And love becomes the necessary ingredient of any marriage. Kumpenda mtu sio kumpenda tu mtu kwa sababu jinsi anavyofanana kwa nje, anavyoonekana kwa nje. Kupenda nzuri na inayotakikana ni ile kupenda kutoka kwa Roho. Jinsi Kristo alivyotupenda akatoa uhai wake, ndivyo Kristo huyo naye alijinyenyekeza na kuja kwetu wakati huu wa majilio, wakati huu wa Krismasi, aweze kuzaliwa ndani ya roho yetu. The sort of love that we talk about here, that Colossians talks about, is maybe other love, selfless love, the love that comes from the heart and reaches together the person. He talks about that love, and when you love, you become gentle, you become kind, you become persevering. With love, you can be able to heal absolutely anything. Reminds me of a couple that this man was married to his wife, and his wife later on in life, 4 years down the marriage, was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. She could barely walk and she was confined to a wheelchair. And this husband occasionally thought he would run away kupendana mpaka watu washangae, sema hawa wawili hawa kwani wataachana lini? Sema tutawachana wakati Mungu atakapoita mmoja wetu, na hata tukikuachana we'll still be together in spirit. This is love that comes from the heart. This is what I pray for the two of you, that you may know. And the life that you begin today, Daniel and Lois, I promise you, it is not easy. It is hard. It is full of challenges, but it is possible. It is possible when you take one day at a time. One day at a time. I remember some few years ago when I was still a deacon, this couple came to me and said, Father, I cannot stand my wife. She's nagging. She's nagging. She's a very troublesome wife. I said, why is it? She doesn't listen to me. But they came over to my office and I said, okay, I need to give you an important exercise. Can you have a piece of paper, each of you, and a pen on your hands? And say, use that. You're the gentleman here. Can you write something good about your wife? And he looked at me and said, what possibly can I write about my wife? I said, you also write something about your husband. And they started scribbling on that piece of paper and looking at me. And some few minutes later, I don't have the whole day. Can you exchange those pieces of paper? They threw the papers at me. I said, no, give them to each other. And the wife was the first one to uncover a piece of paper. And she started smiling. Started smiling and saying, why are you smiling? Can you read it out loudly? You're my sunshine, my only sunshine. You're the only means in my day. You're this and that. And she started saying all these beautiful words to each other. And also, she said the same thing. He also enrolled and said, oh, you're a very handsome man, tall, dark, chocolate, all these beautiful things. And before I went to walking out of my office holding each other's hands, what they liked is that they started off not complimenting each other and telling each other that they look beautiful. Hey, you need to tell her sometimes that she looks nice. And she also, you have to tell him sometimes that he looks handsome. Even just say it. Say, oh, you look so nice. Oh, that's a nice suit you have. It's a nice pajama you're wearing. That's a nice socks you have. It's only better normal sana. These are things you should compliment each other for. This is what a wedding is all about. It's about love. And may I end by saying that recently to the priest, a holy priest, the pious priest, who this bride walked over to her and said, I want to leave my husband. He's a drunk, he's good for nothing. I do not need him in my life. And he said, wait a minute, I have a remedy for that. I said, Father, you have a remedy, I've tried everything. And he said, take this water. When you reach home, can you have a sip of that water and hold it onto your mouth and don't spill it out? I said, Father, is it true? Does it work magic? He said, just go and find out. When the husband came and he could be heard from the streets shouting with the top of his voice and everybody was running away, his children were running away to get some shelter so that they're not scolded at. The dad came in and looked at them and obviously they were abusive, saying words. And she get a cup of water in her mouth and it stood there in her mouth. He talked and talked and talked. There was silence. The next day the same thing, 5 days later the same thing. The 7th day he brought some roses.